local, news. KSBY News at 6 starts right now.
Right now, a debate is brewing in the city of Atascadero as residents and city council members discuss the possibility of a Walmart. The city council votes tonight on whether they'll let the big box store come to town. Good evening. We're going to have more on that in just a minute, but first an update on some breaking news we told you about in our 5 o'clock broadcast. CAL FIRE says a fire burned an outbuilding at Zoo to You in Paso Robles. It broke out a little before 5 o'clock this evening. Zoo to You is located in the 2400 block of Adobe Road. Now, there were some wires down in the area at the time of the fire, but we don't know that they caused the fire. The cause is still under investigation. We do have a crew on the scene. There is no word yet whether there are any animals hurt in that fire. You might remember back in 2009, Zoo to You experienced a structure fire that killed many of the zoo's animals. We've got a crew there, as I say. We'll have the latest on KSBY.com as events warrant, and we'll have more in this broadcast when we get new information. Now on to our other top story. People in Atascadero are getting a chance to share their opinion tonight on whether or not the city council members should approve plans to build a Walmart in the area. Here are the facts first. The city is considering plans to build a Walmart and shopping center. Earlier this month, planning commissioners voted 4-1 to recommend the project. Tonight, council members invited the public to comment before making their decision. This debate has been heated since it was first proposed back in 2006. If the city approves it, a 123,000 square foot Walmart and shopping center will be built on the corner of the Del Rio and El Camino roads. According to the Planning Commission, it's expected to bring in $500,000 a year in revenue. The project would cost the city more than $2 million. $1.5 million of that will be borrowed from the wastewater fund. Council members will be making their decision later tonight. We've got a reporter on the scene and a crew. Hope Hanselman is attending the meeting, and we'll have a full report coming up at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. Now, what do you think's in a name? For the city of Guadalupe, it could mean a lot because the city council tonight will consider a name change. The new proposed name, Guadalupe Beach.
If you change the name, the people might come, and that's what we're trying to do. We want the people to come in, go out to the beach, go out fishing, go to the restaurants, go out to the gas station and put gas, and that's all sales tax for the community.
Mayor Lupe Alvarez says additional revenue from increased traffic would help the city pay for police and fire employees, which he says the city's struggling with during these tough economic times. Alvarez says that the cost of a name change wouldn't be significant and changes to signs would happen over time. This concept isn't new, of course, to the Central Coast. Grover Beach did something similar back in the 1990s, changing its name from the City of Grover Beach to Grover Beach. Our Kelly Moore joins us now. And Kelly, do name changes like this, has it helped cities? You did some work here.
Well, John, there is no hard evidence to prove this, but people say it just can't hurt. A beach is always alluring. And longtime business owners who moved to this area for the beach say that over time, the name change has definitely had a positive impact.
Well, at first, of course, most people don't like change, and I'm about like the rest of them, but it really was the best thing for us to do.
Cynthia Glenn opened her Grover Beach dress shop, named after her husband and 3 sons, in 1969.
People always ask me, where is Grover City? And it was misleading, and it's really simple once you tell them where it is, to go up 4th Street, and there's the ocean.
In fact, the city's main street, Grand Avenue, ends at the beach.
Grand Avenue started to look prettier. People started to take more interest in it, and we did have more people from the valley.
The Grover Beach Visitors Bureau does not have records to show how tourism was affected by the name change, but locals we spoke to say add beach to the name and it will draw more people.
When one person beautifies their area, it makes the person next door.
And next door is Guadalupe.
They're in a beautiful area on the Pacific Ocean. You can't get much more better than that. So I think they would do well to change that name.
Now, some business owners fear that Guadalupe won't see quite the change because the beach is in a more remote location. And right now, that beach is only open 5 days per week. Live and local in the studio, Kelly Moore, KSBY News.
All right, Kelly, thank you so much. Now, the city of Guadalupe says it's currently pushing the county to have the beach open 7 days a week instead of that 5. The Coast Guard is searching for a Santa Barbara man who went scuba diving yesterday near the Channel Islands but never returned. 64-year-old Andres Martinez was reported missing around 1 in the afternoon when he did not resurface after diving from the fishing vessel Josefina Dos just north of Santa Cruz Island. Coast Guard crews, along with divers from the Ventura and LA County Sheriff's Departments, searched the area but haven't found Martinez. A 28-year-old Arroyo Grande man is facing several charges after police say he refused to surrender to officers early yesterday morning. Officers used a police dog to help take Liam Laboon into custody. A witness reported to police that Laboon had been walking around the Arroyo Grande cemetery and had fired a gun. Police say they found a loaded revolver in his pocket. They're also investigating Laboon for domestic violence and first-degree burglary. A San Luis Obispo woman is facing an assault with a deadly weapon charge. She's accused of running into a man on a bike in the Target parking lot. Police say surveillance video shows 24-year-old Olivia Ripple purposely driving her van into a 54-year-old man. It happened around 9 o'clock last night. Police say the bicyclist had just been in an argument with a male friend of Ripple. A Pismo Beach police officer later saw Ripple driving on Highway 101 and arrested her. The Covarrubias family breaks their silence tonight in their first TV interview since the Santa Barbara County District Attorney found the shooting death of Officer Albert Covarrubias Jr. by another officer as legally justified. Nikki Ibarra spoke today with the father and widow of Albert Covarrubias Jr. She joins us now live from our Santa Maria newsroom. Nikki, very difficult time for the family. What do they have to say about this report?
Well, John, they don't believe this 18-page report. Like you said earlier, I spent over an hour with the Covarrubias family, his father as well as his widow. Gloria Covarrubias didn't want to go on camera, but see, she says something isn't adding up. Gloria Covarrubias says she's left with more questions than answers.
She says that she's not going to believe it. She's not going to take it. She says it does hurt for her to hear it, but no one's going to tarnish his image in her eyes.
Her father-in-law, Albert Covarrubias, spoke on her behalf, and for him, reading the district attorney's report was just too difficult for him to finish.
You can read all you want, but in our opinion, it didn't have to happen.
Covarrubias' widow and father believe things weren't handled properly that January night, and they don't believe Officer Covarrubias had an inappropriate relationship with a 17-year-old explorer.
We want answers. We want justice. We want the clearing of his name. Are we going to get that? I don't know.
They say the fact Police Chief Danny Macania wasn't mentioned throughout the DA's report tells them the department is hiding something.
What kind of a chief is he if these guys are doing things without him knowing? So can he be a chief? Is he a chief?
And the Covarrubias family attorney, Gil Alvandi, listened in via Skype. He says the family has filed a court claim against the city. If the city doesn't respond in about 45 days, they will go ahead with a lawsuit against the city as well as the police department. Live and local in the Santa Maria newsroom, Nikki Ibarra, KSBY News. John?
All right, Nikki, thank you. Tough for the family. We'll follow the movements on that. Now, we did reach out to the city regarding the Covarrubias family's claim. Assistant City Attorney Philip Cinco says the city will respond to the claim within about a month. Because of pending internal investigations and litigation, city officials say they can't comment any further on this. Now, if you'd like to read the complete claim, visit ksby.com and click on links. Well, you may notice some people dressed in orange along Highway 101 in San Luis Obispo County over the next few days. They're part of the county sheriff's search and rescue team. Sheriff's officials say they're looking for evidence on the southbound side of the highway between San Luis Obispo and Nipomo. Details of the case they're working on have not been released. Commuters on the South Coast should be aware of some possible delays. Caltrans crews are working to repair potholes along northbound Highway 101, and today they were in Carpinteria. Tomorrow they'll be in Summerland, working between Evans Avenue and Sheffield Drive. Road work will be done between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. One lane will stay open at all times, and you can expect about a 15-minute delay. At least 15 people are injured after a large big rig collides with several cars on the Antelope Valley Freeway just north of L.A. At least 9 vehicles were stacked on top of each other. The Los Angeles County Fire Department says several passengers were trapped and had to be rescued from their cars. At least 2 people are in critical condition. The cause of that accident is under investigation. Democratic lawmakers are moving a bill that could give Governor Brown's tax initiative top billing on the November ballot. The bill would require bond measures and constitutional amendments to appear on the ballot ahead of other initiatives and referendums. Senate Democrats introduced the measure as part of a budget package they plan to send to the governor by tomorrow. And in news across California, the city of Stockton is on track to become the largest U.S. city to file for bankruptcy. It's a city of about 290,000 people. The city had been negotiating with creditors to try to avoid bankruptcy, but there's been no word of an agreement. Tonight, the city council is scheduled to decide whether to adopt a special budget to close the city's projected $26 million budget deficit in case bankruptcy protection is sought. And there's another wine festival happening this weekend, but this one is unlike any others on the Central Coast. The festival is drawing in vintners worldwide, but it's not all that makes it special. It's that it's devoted to one type of varietal. Plus, a little later, we're comparing apples to orbits. Find out why the online travel site thinks certain computer users are spending more than others. This is a live shot of the structure fire we told you about earlier in Paso Robles. You can see the smoldering embers there, and firefighters still putting on water there. We currently have a crew on the scene. CAL FIRE is saying the fire broke out just after 5 o'clock, about an hour and 15 minutes ago. The fire burned an outbuilding at Zoo to You in Paso Robles. They're on the location there. That is the location. But the cause of the blaze still under investigation. Please stay with us here on KSBY. We'll have all the latest as things break there, and follow us on ksby.com for the most recent information on this developing story. You know, we hear a lot about Central Coast wines and festivals celebrating them, but there's one varietal that doesn't get a lot of play and yet kind of helped put the Central Coast on the wine country map. And it's getting its due this weekend for sure. And as Jeanette Trumpeter shows us tonight, it's more proof there's no place like home.
One of the most noted vineyards on the Central Coast sits just to the east of Highway 101 in the Santa Maria Valley. Yet you may not recognize the name among the labels on your wine shelves. That's because it's not the wine that's produced in this historic valley that has made it noteworthy. It's the grapes the Miller family grows here that wineries all over clamor for.
My brother and I are 5th-generation farmers here in California, and so we certainly think of ourselves as growers first and foremost.
Our great-great-grandfather came to California in the 1880s for his health, and lived down in Ventura County at Rancho Guadalasca.
Their grandparents moved to the Santa Maria Valley in the 60s to farm and decided to try grapes in the early 70s.
It was their sons, my father and my uncle, who decided that they thought grapes had a future in this valley. And so it was a little bit naive, and it was very aspirational, but it's worked out.
It certainly did. Father Steve Miller was just named one of the 100 most influential people in the farming industry. He still farms lemons and avocados in Ventura and Santa Maria, as well as grapes. And the grapes from Bien Nacido put the Central Coast in the spotlight regularly.
And we've been very fortunate. In the last couple of years, we've been recognized as one of the top 25 vineyards in the world by Wine Spirits magazine. We were awarded the California State Vineyard of the Year last year at the California State Fair.
They do it right, and they credit some of their success on the perfect climate around this picturesque piece of property.
We probably have the longest growing region of anywhere in the state, and so we're picking Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in September, and then getting a couple more months to get Syrah that needs more heat ripe to pick in November.
Napa and Sonoma may get more attention than the Santa Maria Valley, but the truth is they've been using grapes from these vineyards for years. You may not see a lot of Bien Nacido wines on store shelves, but inside the historic adobe on the property, you will see how many wines have Bien Nacido grapes in them, with the vineyard prominently displayed right below the winery names on the labels, because it's always nice to be associated with the best in the world. And when it comes to grapes, some of them are grown right here in our own backyard.
Beautiful. Foxen Bien Nacido Chardonnay was the #1 rated Chardonnay of 2011 by Wine Enthusiast magazine. It's kind of cool Bien Nacido was so involved in this weekend's Chardonnay Symposium in Santa Maria. And if you want more information on that symposium, just check out news links. It's all right there for you. Good event this weekend. What kind of weather?
One of the best, yeah. It's going to be great weather this weekend. Things warming up here on the Central Coast for the rest of this week, and then just taking off a little.
How would you rate this weekend in terms of the top?
I'd say it's in the top 3. No, we'll talk more about that coming up. I got it all set out for you there. Let's take you out to Waller Park, and there's a look at some folks out having a good time. Santa Maria, the issue today, the breeze that developed in the afternoon. We'll check on the latest on that live local weather next.
Now, your live, local TrueView 6 weather forecast with meteorologist Dave Hupty.
We'll start off with a developing national story, and that is what was once Tropical Storm Debbie is now a tropical depression. And later on in this newscast, we'll show you some video from this region. But up to 30 inches of rain has fallen over northern Florida. Jacksonville, finally the rain lightening up. And again, we have more at KSBY News at 6:30. This is the latest on the system. Winds down to 35 miles per hour. That's why it gets the new designation as a tropical depression. Closer to home, our day ahead tomorrow looks like this. I think generally clear. There might be a few clouds early, temperatures in the low 50s across the board. And like today, we will springboard quickly. At the beach, 76 degrees by noon, 80 coastal valleys, 79 degrees inland. And with less wind tomorrow afternoon, that glide downward will be more subtle than today. Unlike today, where those winds got up to 30 and 35 mile per hour gusts, tomorrow I think the winds in the afternoon are more like 15 with gusts to maybe 20 or at the highest 25. 65 Santa Maria live and local now, 71 Solvang, 66 in San Luis Obispo, 85 in Paso Robles. And look at the winds. They're averaging 20 miles per hour out there right now. So this is the situation. Low pressure, cold front, high pressure off to the west. Wind goes from areas of high pressure into areas of low pressure, so that really funnels that tight pressure gradient along the central coast. Changes tomorrow, fairly subtle, but high pressure builds in behind the exiting front here, and there won't be as much difference in pressure. And because the winds will be down, because some of this is building in from the southwest, will warm up. We'll get those interior valley daytime highs back into the 90s. And look at the conditions at the coast. 80 San Luis, 75 Santa Maria, and 76 in Santa Barbara, 92 in Paso Robles. And out by the beaches, we get back up into the 70s. Orchid at 75, Vandenberg at 73. Santa Ynez Valley temperatures into the 80s tomorrow. Pismo Beach, 76, 80 in Arroyo Grande. In fact, temperatures could even be a shade or two higher than that. When we get these days when there isn't much of an onshore breeze or we expect it to arrive late, temperatures can do very well. Avila Beach ought to make a really good run at 80. Extended forecast says Thursday should be about the same. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we get a little more enhanced onshore flow. The temperatures retreat, but just a bit. Weekend looking fabulous in the mid-70s. Let's take a look at your TrueView 6 day for Paso Robles in North County. 90s across the board, and could see a couple of run-ins with the mid-90s. Santa Barbara and the South Coast, mid-70s backing off only on Monday. So really nice forecast for the South Coast as well. Let's take a look live and local. This is San Luis Obispo and traffic along the 101, smooth in both directions. Camera, though, shaking a bit in the wind. John.
All right, thank you, Dave. Coming up tonight on KSBY News at 6:30, the Supreme Court is expected to finish its term on Thursday with one of the most far-reaching rulings in decades. That's on the president's health care law. We'll have the latest on what this means in the race for the White House. But first, a former Cal Poly coach is found dead. Bill Halter will have the details next in sports.
Now, Bill Halter and your live local sports.
Former Cal Poly volleyball coach John Stevenson was found dead in a Van Nuys home on Sunday, according to the Van Nuys Police Department. Stevenson was 54. Police do not suspect foul play. They say an autopsy was done to determine the official cause of death, but results of the test won't be released for at least a month. Stevenson coached the Mustangs from 2005 until being let go last fall in light of a sexual harassment investigation. He guided Cal Poly to 2 conference titles. Stevenson graduated from UCSB and then played 16 years on the Professional Beach Volleyball Tour. He is in the Beach Volleyball Hall of Fame. Cal Poly and Rigetti graduate Christina Santiago is flying to China right now. The two-time Big West Player of the Year will play for Team USA in exhibition games against Olympic teams. Now, since the actual teams are playing in the WNBA right now, Santiago, along with other recent college grads, are filling in.
Just the experience of going to China, that's always been a place I've been really interested in and curious about.
When Santiago gets back from China, she'll start focusing on her professional career. She recently signed with a team in Bulgaria after coming close to signing with teams in Israel and Switzerland.
And this offer from Bulgaria came up, which had me really excited because it's a Euro Cup team, which means we not only play teams in the country, but we travel all over Europe to play other countries too.
Santiago still has a dream of playing in the WNBA, but knows she'll have to market herself overseas first.
From now on, I want to kind of build myself up, play really competitive in as many competitive leagues as I can, try and get those championships.
Santiago will play in Rus, Bulgaria for the team that won the country's championship last year. Christina says the team will take care of her food and living. They will also provide her with her own personal driver. Well, the women's heptathlon at the U.S. Olympic Trials will start on Friday. Recent UCSB graduate Barbara Nawaba will compete for a spot on Team USA after finishing second in the heptathlon in the NCAA meet. Nawaba will compete alongside Cal Poly grad Sharon Day. Day sees promise in the young gaucho.
I think she has a lot of potential in the event to score really high. I feel like she hasn't quite put a whole meet together with all 7 events being, the best that they can be.
Day and Nawaba will need a top 3 finish to qualify for the Olympics. And college football is going to a 4-team playoff. The NCAA presidents approved that 4-team playoff system. It'll begin in 2014, and the 4 teams will be chosen by a selection committee. So for many people, it's about time that they figure it out that way.
It was approved by them. Was it approved by Bill Halter? Do you approve of this?
You know what's goofy about it is the championship game will be hosted by the team that pays the most for it. So that's kind of a silly way of deciding where to play the game.
Money. All right,
thanks,
Bill.
Yeah.
A prehistoric species is revealed in Argentina. Still ahead on KSBY News at 6:30. Scientists are saying it might be related to the Tyrannosaurus. See how old these bones really are. Plus, Tropical Depression Debbie continues to wreak havoc in Florida. The storm has already dumped more than 2 feet of water in some of the hardest hit areas, with more on the way. Be right back.
Live, local, news. KSBY News at 6:30 starts right now.
We have been following this story in Paso Robles with a fire that has broken out at the Zoo for You. We have now a shot of the police chief. Let's see here. Do we have you on the air, sir?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. It's Fire Chief from Cal Fire San Luis Obispo County Fire Department.
Fire Chief
Good evening, John.
Steve Reeder?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Tell us what the situation right now. Just a few minutes ago, we saw quite a few. How many firefighters, and what is the situation with the structures?
I don't have a complete count of the number of firefighters we have out here, John, but I can tell you we have 8 fire engines, 2 hand crews, 2 water tenders, 1 rescue, and 3 chief officers out here from Cal Fire San Luis Obispo County Fire, and with assistance from Paso Robles City Fire Department, Templeton Fire Department, and San Miguel Fire Department, all working together out here.
What is the situation with buildings and humans and animals?
Well, as you can probably see from your live shot, the fire is basically out. We're going through our mop-up stage right now. The fire started in an outbuilding that was used for storage. What exactly was in there, we don't know yet. We do have an investigator out at scene to find out what caused the fire. There was no, I'm pleased to report, no injury to animals out here at Zoo to You, so that's very good news. There was some damage to the residential structure out here. But other than that, things are looking very good. Could have been a lot worse.
The animals, of course. What about the humans? No injuries to any of the people or firefighters?
No injuries to the Zoo to You employees or the residents, nor the firefighters. So again, good news.
We did have a report that wires were down in the area. We don't know whether they're phone wires or electrical wires. Is there a possibility that that's one of the causes?
Certainly a possibility. We did have PG&E out here to turn off the electricity for us so we could safely get in closer to this fire and suppress the fire. So right now we're still investigating the cause and not sure if that was a result of or a cause of the fire.
And Chief, one more quick question. The location of that fire, is it such that the Zoo to You can remain open as usual, or will that affect operations?
That's a good question, John. I'll have to confirm that with the employees. My understanding is that they're going to be able to remain open. There's very minimal damage, and again, no damage to any of the animal enclosures, but that's going to be something that they're going to have to decide for themselves.
All right, Chief Reeder from CAL FIRE, thank you so much for your time, and good going down there on that fire, up there in Paso Robles on that fire. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure to be with you, John. Thank you.
All right. We've got 2 days left before the Supreme Court rules on President Obama's signature first-term achievement, health care reform. Mitt Romney sounds like he can't wait, and the pressure is on the incumbent right now. Steve Handelsman has the story.
President Obama showed up at Atlanta's Varsity Drive-In for a fast food lunch.
5 chili dogs.
5 chili dogs. 5 chili dogs.
We're going to have 4 regular dogs.
Comfort food. This could be a rough week. The Supreme Court rules Thursday on Obamacare. Mitt Romney figures he gains ground either way.
If Obamacare is not deemed constitutional, then the first 3.5 years of this president's term will have been wasted on something that has not helped the American people.
And if Obamacare is upheld,
We're going to have a president, and I'm not one that's going to get rid of Obamacare. We're going to stop it on day one.
Asked about health care and the high court in today's NBC News Wall Street Journal survey, 37% of Americans said they'd be pleased if Obamacare is ruled unconstitutional and overturned. 28% would be pleased if the justices find it constitutional. The president told Atlanta contributors, "We don't need a new fight on health care, we need insourcing."
The way we grow our economy is by making sure that we're bringing manufacturing back to the United States.
It's a shot at Romney, subject of a new Obama ad.
The Washington Post has just revealed that Romney's companies were pioneers in shipping U.S. jobs overseas.
In Iowa, Joe Biden piled on.
So you got to give Mitt Romney credit. He's a job creator in Singapore, China, India.
One more day to talk jobs. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
The Supreme Court is making its ruling on Thursday, which many believe will directly affect the race for the White House. In news from around the world, tensions between Turkey and Syria are on the rise after Syrian forces shot down a Turkish military plane last week. Here's the latest. Turkish Prime Minister has warned the Syrian military not to approach the Turkish border. Otherwise, it runs the risk of being attacked by the Turkish military. NATO officials were meeting in Brussels to discuss what the alliance could do in response to the Syrian military shooting down an aircraft. Now the Syrian government maintains it shot down the Turkish fighter jet while it violated its own airspace, but the Turkish government says it was over international waters. Barriers leading to the American embassy in Cairo, Egypt are on their way out. Under the rule of ousted leader Hosni Mubarak, security services had blocked the access to the streets to protect the two embassies after the September 11th attacks. The barriers were removed after a court ruled in favor of lawsuits filed by residents who said it was difficult to get to their homes. The removal process will be complete by Saturday. And here's a story now comparing apples to Orbitz, or more specifically, why the online travel site thinks Mac users are more willing than PC users to stay in pricier hotels. Here's NBC's Chris Clackham.
Hello, I'm a Mac. And I'm a PC.
Which one you are could also determine how much you'll likely pay for a hotel room if you're an Orbitz customer. The online travel retailer admits that sometimes when Mac users are on its website, the pricier hotels are displayed first because
they're 40% more likely to book a 4- or 5-star hotel, and then when they stay in the same hotel as a PC user, they opt for a bigger, more expensive room, might get upgrades.
Dana Mattioli broke the story in the Wall Street Journal that because Mac users tend to have higher household incomes, $98,000 versus $74,000 a year for PCers, Orbitz just concluded Mac users are also willing to spend more.
They took that information, they said they're spending more, they want these higher starred option. So let's make it easier for them to find.
Pretty much all websites are aware of whether you're shopping on a PC or a Mac. That's not unusual information.
Orbit's CEO was made available for interviews to let everyone know there's nothing sneaky going on here. Orbit's is just maximizing a marketing plan.
This is using the information that we learn from millions of consumers who are coming to our website to help make that travel shopping experience better.
He says Orbit's is offering the same price for the same room to all users. It's just a matter of which user sees what offering first. Chris Clackham, NBC News.
The Orbit CEO also said that this is a perfect example of how the company is making the site more customized for its consumers. Well, man's best friend proves to be a toddler's best buddy, too. A family's dog saved a little boy's life after he fell into a backyard pool in southwestern Michigan over the weekend, keeping his head afloat. It happened when the toddler's mother left the backyard to get a gardening tool. She said 1 minute the toddler was right next to her and the next he was gone. After searching everywhere for him, she found him in the pool. When she looked more closely, she saw the family dog holding him up.
He wouldn't move in the pool. He didn't bark. He didn't move. It was like he was afraid to move at all until I got Stanley up out of the pool.
The little boy is expected to make a full recovery. A new species of dinosaur was unveiled today in Argentina. Scientists in Buenos Aires say the species relates to the giant Tyrannosaurus, the smaller velociraptor, and modern-day birds. The prehistoric creature was unveiled at the Argentine Museum of Natural Science. The skeleton is made of 130 original bones. It likely measured between 8 and 10 feet long. The bones are believed to be about 90 million years old. A local fitness instructor is bringing home some top honors, becoming one of the best in the world. We'll explain how in tonight's Healthy Living. Plus, keeping that weight off just got a little harder. What new research discovered that might have you changing the way you eat? That's up next. Well, checking out those gas prices, you might think gas prices are low, and you'd be right. In fact, they're the lowest they've been since late January. It's relief for drivers, too, as we approach the 4th of July holiday. Now, today the national average fell to around $3.40 a gallon. In tonight's Healthy Living, a local fitness trainer is named one of the top in the world by a group. Now, Karina Corral reveals who it is and lets us know about a couple of events going on benefiting burn and cancer survivors.
Mike Robinson, owner of MCR Fitness in San Luis Obispo, has been named one of the top 3 fitness trainers in the world by IDEA, the world's largest association for fitness and wellness professionals. Trainers undergo a strenuous process for this title. They must be nominated by a peer, submit an application that includes testimonials, prove their workout style, and detail their business plan to the association.
It's real comprehensive, and that's why it stands out at the top of our field. This is the highest that you get, you know, with this kind of award. So it's pretty exciting right now for us.
The announcement was made in this month's issue of Fitness Journal. Mark your calendars. This Saturday is the 5 Cities Firefighters' first annual golf ball drop at the 16th Street Park in Grover Beach. Each ball costs $5. They'll then be dropped from a ladder 100 feet in the air. Prizes will be awarded to the ticket holders whose golf balls make it into or to those that are closest to the hole. It's a fundraiser for the Lisa Ann Rouge Burn Foundation and the Firefighters Cancer Support Network. And then Friday, a local nonprofit is on course to beat ovarian cancer. The owner of Quest, a corporation focused on the early detection of ovarian cancer, is hosting a golf tournament at the Monarch Dunes Golf Course in Napomo. It benefits Cedars-Sinai Ovarian Research. Karina Corral, KSBY News.
For more information on the tournament or how to buy tickets to the golf ball drop, visit the Healthy Living section of KSBY.com. You know, once you've hit that target weight, research shows your metabolism slows down, making it harder to keep those pounds off. New research suggests the diet you choose could affect the calories you burn long after you've met your weight loss goal. Researchers at Children's Hospital Boston had a group of adults who'd lost 10% of their body weight try to maintain their weight loss with 3 different diets: low carb, low fat, and low glycemic index plans. They found that those following a low carb diet burned 300 more calories a day than those following a low fat diet. However, The low-carb diet plan was linked to an increased risk for heart problems. The low glycemic index diet was the healthiest diet that kept your metabolism going after weight loss. Well, it was a gorgeous day across the Central Coast. Perfect day to head to the beach. And that's exactly what a lot of people did, even though you could see there's some wind there. This is a shot we took from Grover Beach. People out enjoying the beautiful weather. Your live local weather forecast with meteorologist Dave Hovde coming up after the break.
Now, your live, local TrueView 6 weather forecast with meteorologist Dave Hovde.
There is a lot going on. This is northern Florida today. Look at that. Feet of water, not only in the streets, but coming out of the sky. Some places picking up to 30 inches of rain from what was Tropical Storm Debbie. It has now been downgraded to a tropical depression, and it is going to take a lot of time to dig out from this one. The area of low pressure is here, but the rain continues across southern Georgia and northern Florida. The other huge story today, the heat across much of the central section of the country. It is a legit heat wave, and some of the numbers are astounding. Denver's all-time record high is 105, and they've seen it the last 2 days. It was 110 in Midland, Kansas. It was 105 in Houston. In 122 years of keeping records, it's only been that hot 3 times. That is amazing. So closer to home, our weather, just kind of your Central Coast blend. Very typical. 85 Paso, 66 live and local in San Luis, 69 Solvang, 68 in Santa Barbara. And the winds right now still averaging 20 to 25. Less wind tomorrow as high pressure builds in over the landmass. So those afternoon winds probably just about 15 miles per hour, maybe gusts up to 20. So let's take a look at your Wednesday forecast here. 92 Paso Robles, 80 in San Luis. So warming up away from the water. But you know what? I think even the beaches will do well tomorrow. I'm predicting a lot of mid-70s. 85 for Santa Ynez, 84 in Solvang, 80 in Los Alamos, and 73 in Vandenberg. Around the 5 cities, Pismo Beach 76, 80 in AG, looking really good. Even North Coast temperatures, Los Osos in its 70. I think Avila Beach could be closer to 80 tomorrow, 90 in Atascadero, 93 in San Miguel. So not just Wednesday nice and mild, but Thursday as well. But then I think we're going to see some sympathetic reformation of the marine layer. Because it's going to be so warm inland, we'll reform what we call the inversion, or when the air gets hotter with height. So that might trap in some clouds near the coast. But out in Paso Robles in North County, the entire 6-day run, all in the 90s, and Santa Barbara in the South Coast. What a nice run there as well with sunshine and mid-70s. You know, you want to go back about a week and a half in Santa Barbara. We were dealing with marine cloudiness every day, and what we've seen because of the winds today, for one reason, just absolutely clear, beautiful.
All right, sounds good. We're just so lucky compared to the rest of the country.
We are.
Amazing right now. All right, thanks, bud. Coming up tonight at 10 on the CW and 11 on KSBY, we told you last week about a golfer who won a $100,000 car after a hole-in-one. Well, another golfer took home a different set of wheels after he hits his own perfect shot. And a new species of dinosaurs discovered in Argentina. What scientists say the carnivorous dinosaur could mean for the explanation of the evolution of birds at 10 and 11. Well, it's a day to celebrate our independence. Still ahead, see how the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission demonstrated fireworks hazard safety in their annual fireworks safety demonstration. Plus, how much money do you have in your savings account? Is it enough for an emergency? Financial experts are weighing in. Stay with us. You know, a 4th of July celebration just wouldn't be the same without fireworks to celebrate our nation's independence. Well, today the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission demonstrated fireworks hazards on mannequins and watermelons. They used both consumer fireworks such as sparklers and illegal fireworks such as M80s. Now, the CPSC statistics show that 65% of all fireworks injuries in 2011 occurred during the 30 days surrounding the 4th of July holiday.
In 2011, fireworks incidents sent 9,600 people to the hospital emergency rooms and tragically led to 4 deaths.
This is an annual event to show consumers why it's important to be aware of fireworks safety. Well, it looks like most people don't have enough emergency funds saved up. I didn't need to be told that. A new survey by Bankrate.com has found more than 25% of Americans don't have enough money saved to cover their bills in case of an emergency, such as a job loss. That's nearly 3 in 10 people. Only 25% of people had 6 months of savings. That's the amount financial experts say you should have stashed away in case of an emergency. And do you need a vacation? It looks like bosses are taking vacation, more of it than employees. That's according to a Career Builder survey that found that more than 80% of managers have taken or plan to take a vacation this year, compared to 65% of full-time employees.
Jeanette took one.
we're not saying don't pick on
we're talking
Jeanette.
about our boss.
We're talking about the bosses.
Oh, you go ahead and talk about the boss then.
No, never say anything about the boss. We hope all of you are able to take a vacation this summer.
I'm going to take one now. See you.
We'll be back. He's gone. 10 and 11 tonight.